All right, cool beans. We're live. I'm Joe DeHoyos, and I have my lovely and talented co-host, Miss Shannon Rogers. Shannon, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. We already
Yeah.
have one of our stalkers here. Thank you.
Beth, I love Beth.
Yeah. What you been up to, Shannon?
I have been just diving in deep, trying to really build up this paranormal explorations of America. I've been booking locations, and let's see, Yorktown. I got Yorktown. It sold out in 3 days. I have Ballinger at Oak Park Hotel. I'm doing a fundraiser for them in July on my birthday. This is a social event. It's going to be fun. You can't go in there and be like, be quiet because it's going to be a social plus a themed event where everybody dresses up. I mean, I've got the thing going on in Montana in June. I got that Saturday night open for people, but I just booked a new location in Mississippi at Old Southern Funeral Home, and I asked our lovely, wonderful guest to be my special feature for that. So I'm glad that he said yes, and I'm glad he's on with us today.
Yeah, heck yeah. And like always, people don't tune in to hear us. They always tune in to hear
Yeah.
our guests. So, with that being said, Mr. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, all three of us are from Texas too, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
An all Texas show. I don't know. We haven't had an all Texas show in a while.
We got the trifecta.
Yeah, we
It's
gotta
all
try. There you
good.
go. Yeah, there you go. So Nick, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you started into this crazy genre that you're involved in?
Well, man, that's a interesting story. Let's see. I was about 6 years old when I came across my first apparition. I was just a little kid. I was living at home with my family, mom, dad, sister, aunt, grandma, and we lived in a two-story house here in Marlin, where I'm from.
I know
Uh,
Marlon.
yep. And I was upstairs. I was by myself. There was a little room down the hall from where everybody's bedrooms were, and that's where I would usually play and stuff like that. And I was playing one day. It was middle of August, so it was super hot. And all of a sudden, I could just feel this cold chill come over me. No AC up there, no ceiling fans, nothing to generate that airflow. The windows were shut, so it was just me and this cold, cold breeze. Next thing I know, I hear my name, uh, like a little whisper, Nicholas, Nicholas. Kind of freaked me out a little bit. I thought it might have been my sister or my aunt playing games with me because they like to do that. Because at that point, we had discovered that the house was haunted, um, but it wasn't them. They were outside. They were in the backyard. Uh, so I'm just sitting there. I hear my name. I get a little scared because I'm 6 years old. I get up and start moving toward the stairs, and then I just see this black mass just form right in front of me. And at that point, I'm running. I'm running toward the stairs. I'm headed down the stairs, and I can hear this thing just coming behind me. And you can hear its audible footsteps, and I hear it walking down the stairs as I'm running down the stairs. And it was a two flights of stairs, and at the bottom of the second flight is a little utility room, like a washer dryer, stuff like that. You can go to the left is the door to the backyard. To the right is the door to the kitchen. Well, I knew my mom and my grandma were in the kitchen, so I tried to go that way first. Couldn't get out. The door was locked, and I couldn't get it open. So I turned to my
At
left or turn
6.
right behind me. Yeah, at 6. And I'm banging on the back door because the back door is locked. I can't get out the back door to get to my sister and my aunt. And this thing is it's on me now. I can feel it. I can hear it. And I just start crying, hollering. Eventually, uh, the kitchen door opens. My grandma's there. I fall into her arms, explain what
Oh.
happened. And 2 weeks later, we're out of that house.
Oh,
And yeah, that's what got me started, I guess you could say. Um, it was the beginning of my abilities coming through, I believe. But since I was so young, and of course didn't understand anything, didn't understand why that was happening, I shut it off for a long time. And it wasn't until about 5 or 6 years ago that I opened back up and started getting into investigating and started tuning in and opening up as a psychic medium. and that's really where I got started.
Cool, man. That's kind of a crazy story for a 6-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Right. Definitely.
I know you can read some of the comments. I'll try to put as many comments as I can up here.
Nice
So
to meet you, Nick. Proud of my friend right now. Nick is awesome. I barely met Nick like not too long ago, but there was an energy pull there, and I saw nothing but pure good energy, and I'm like, we were just chit chatting the other night. He's like, or yesterday, and he's like, hey, so we got to investigate together. I'm like, well, matter of fact, I just booked an event. Do you want to be my guest speak? There's something about your energy. It's very pure and innocent and good. And your intent is very good. And you're amazing. And, you do runes. I had a friend that did runes in Colorado. Can you explain a little bit what runes readings are?
Yeah. So runes are, it's kind of like tarot. To an extent, it tells a story, and you use runes to read people's energy, and hopefully guide them along the path to answers they need or to advice they may need. And I use the Elder Futhark runes, which is pretty much ancient Viking language.
Gotcha.
Um, so it's the way they spoke, it's the way they interpreted things. Uh, and to me, honestly, it's just about helping people, try to give them any kind of guidance that I can give them.
and what you got you doing that? How did that all come about for you?
Honestly, reading is something I never thought I would get into, but mentor in developing my psychic abilities, Rachel Sosa, who you should go check her out at Moral Compass Tarot. She's awesome and amazing, and I love her to death. She's what got me started in that. I picked up some tarot cards. They didn't really connect with me.
Sorry.
Didn't really talk to them. Bless you.
Thank you.
But I was looking at some runes one day, and in a metaphysical shop, and I just picked them up, and they just connected instantly. So I started getting into seeing what they were all about, researching them a little bit, and I just love it. I love the feeling of the stones or the wood, depending on what kind of set you get, what they're made out of. But it's all natural energy, and that's what really connected me to them.
I like that. Because when I do tarot or anything like that, it's like whatever cards I use or the person in front of me, it's about your tool plus the person's energy, and you connect those tools together.
Right.
So yeah, and then your picture comes to you, and you show that stuff. So that's cool. I wish I could have got on with you that day, but you were overbooked, and I was wanting to really get a reading from you.
Yeah, it surprised me, and it didn't surprise me that I sold out at the event. I mean, there's so many people that are interested in past life and what that can mean for them, and what kind of answers that could give them. I know the first time I had a past life regression done, it was intense. I came across some answers that I didn't even know I was seeking, and that's what kind of gave me the push to go forward and say, hey, this is one of the tools I need to use. This is one of the gifts I'm given to help people. And I just went with it, and I rolled with it, and I've been doing great with it ever since.
Well, I got to tell you my experience when I was because I was in metaphysical for like probably 10 years before I got into paranormal. And I was in Colorado, and we took a past life regression therapy class. And what they basically was teaching us how to guide people through that timeline when you're floating above and back and forth and everything. And I had never been through anything like that. And it was very life-changing for me because I got rid of some old baggage for sure. But I was in an armchair when it was over with. I mean, I was almost like zoned out. I was in an armchair, but my chest was up here and the rest of my body was laying like this. And I had never experienced anything like that, but I'm telling you, letting go of some garbage that didn't belong to you, it was amazing. And so that experience, I don't know if anybody like our followers right or listeners right now, like it's something you really should get into. If you have any blockages or anything, it's really an amazing experience to really go back and forth into those experiences until they're balanced. Does that make sense to you, Nick?
Oh, yeah, definitely. something I found with doing past life regressions too is that sometimes the people don't always make it to the past life part of the regression. A lot of time you discover that people have blockages, they have chakras that are blocked, and it's really about, it turns into helping them release that, finding their proper zone for meditation, their proper zone for opening up and letting go of whatever they're holding on to now, so that they can hopefully do that regression in the future. So it's not just about getting into your past life, it's about helping people release and open up
Yes.
and get through those blockages as well.
I like how you said helping people, because that's what it's about. That's the main purpose of even doing that, is to help. And so I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's really intense, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's when I discovered that I have these abilities and these gifts. The main thing I said I was always going to do is, it wasn't going to be one of those TV psychics that's just in it for a quick buck, just in it for the money.
Exactly.
My goal, my intent is to help people, whether it be here in this plane or across the veil. That's my intent, is to help.
Absolutely.
And there's a question. I don't know if you can read the question on the screen.
Hematite. Oh, hematite's an awesome one to use. I use black obsidian, and I also use wood.
Oh, okay. Is there any particular type of wood that you use? I know people use stones for different things, but I personally never thought about wood.
I use the set I have that's made out of wood is oak.
Okay.
You know, my mentor through the metaphysical in Colorado, Lisa Camerlo, she found some seeds. They were black seeds, and I can't even remember what they were, but they looked like runes. And she actually spent time and connected them and made her own runes out of them. And she still uses it to this day. And that was like 10 years ago. You just connect to the energy and the object. Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, in terms of like your abilities, what was that like when you first started realizing that you had these abilities, and when did that light go off? Like, this is what I actually have. This is what's going on.
It was scary at first, but eye-opening at the same time. Even though I shut myself down unknowingly after the experience I had as a child, it was still there. You know, it's kind of like once you open up, it never closes down kind of thing. I always knew there was something. I always had very vivid, lucid dreams. I could always sense when there was an energy or something else around me, even if I was the only one present in the room at the time. I could always hear things, hear voices, hear whispers, stuff like that. And for some reason, I never put it together until I started opening up and learning more. Anytime I went somewhere with a large group of people, sometimes I would get overly anxious. I would just shut down. Because I didn't realize that I was picking up on everybody's energies and emotions. And it was just kind of all piling on me and kind of making me feel out of place, nervous, stuff like that.
I get that, because if like I know myself, if I'm around someone that has real chaotic energy, because I'm attached, I am drawn to traumatic energy. But if someone has really chaotic energy here in life form, and they're around me and they're like this, I'm like, I literally have to get away from them, because it's too much for me to absorb. It is way, way too much. Do you ever have like situations where you have to get away from people because it's
Definitely, especially people who are unaware or people who are skeptical and don't really believe in what we believe in. They put off just such negativity, or they've got something so traumatic that they've experienced or that's going on in their life right now. The energy they put off, it kind of drains your energy. It sucks your energy dry. And that's what I call an energy vampire. Because they will suck you dry, just like a vampire will suck your blood.
Well, that's the same thing with like a paranormal investigation. We always welcome skeptics. We do, because that it's research. It's not like, let me show you. It's research. Right. But you can have a level of energy on a skeptic that can ruin the whole investigation. The spirits will shut down and be like, that's it. Or they'll show them what's really up. But if you've been in that situation where like you can have a skeptic that's like I guess, pardon my French, a smart ass skeptic, and it'll ruin the whole investigation. Like they're just like, no, we're not going to deal with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's actually a small community theater here in Marlin where I live. It's called the Palace Theater. It's a 96-year-old building, has a lot of history. A lot of history.
We got to
yes,
talk.
we do paranormal universities at this location where we teach people how to investigate ethically, how to use equipment, stuff like that. And one of the board members of the theater, he was always interested in it, but he's a pretty big skeptic. But he was down there one night and he was getting ready for one of the events we were having. And by himself in the theater, backstage, he hears these footsteps just start walking across the back of the stage. And they were very audible footsteps. I mean, you could tell it wasn't like a window or anything like that. It was blowing open and closing from the breeze or anything. And he said it freaked him out a little, but he also thought it was really cool because it kind of proved to him that energy is there and that energy exists.
Right. Yeah, it's fun flipping a skeptic, is that I call it flipping them. It's like,
flipping a skeptic. I like that.
You know, it's like some things you can't deny. You just can't deny. I mean, I had an event at Ballinger a few weeks ago at Old Park Hotel, and you know, my friend Bio came and he brought his girlfriend who hadn't been on an investigation before, and it's not that she did or didn't believe, she was just there. And towards the end of the night, we were in the blue room, and oh my gosh. Okay, so we're all sitting in this room. People don't really know to go and investigate in there, but Tiffany, my right hand on my team, we know what's up in there. We've had experiences like a shadowy, like shift changer, like in our face. Like he's not aggressive, but he's intimidating, but not aggressive, if that makes sense. And so we went in there, and I had an event there, and some of us get in the room, a couple chairs, we sit down. Well, Bio's girlfriend Sarah sits down right in front of Tiffany, and all of a sudden we're all looking at this door. Beth was there. Beth knows this door all of a sudden doubles into two, and all of us are seeing this door, like the illumination of what's the door frame. It turns into two, and we're all going like, what? And then it started backing up and coming forward. I'm not telling you anything but truth because Beth can verify this. She's on here right now. But Sarah, her first investigation was like, she started crying, and she put her arms around Tiffany's legs, latched her nails into Tiffany's legs, and would not let go. And it's like it's such crazy stuff that can happen in an investigation for new people or skeptics and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, you want to see something, we can show you. And that's when you have sensitive or gifted people on an investigation, it really does enhance because we connect better. And so we were giving them an opportunity to really get an experience. Okay, it was like, Tiffany, we're going to the blue room. Tiffany's like, yeah, we're going to the blue room. I'm like, all right, let's bring them in. It's like, but that was just a crazy experience. I mean, so have you had experiences like that where it is just so insane and crazy you can't explain it, like visuals are going on? And
oh yeah, definitely. We were investigating another location here in town, the Falls Hotel, which, if you look back at the history of it, is actually one of Conrad Hilton's original hotels that he built when he first got started back in the early 1920s.
oh, wow.
Investigating this location, and we were up on about, I think it was the 7th or the 8th floor, and lights were out, pitch dark, all flashlights off. We were just going for it. The rest of the group starts walking down the hallway because one of the other psychics that was with us saw shadow movement. So they start moving down to the end of the hallway to check it out, see if they can get anything on tune in, get anything on the instruments they were using. And the next thing I know, I can just feel something charging my direction. So I take out my phone, snap a few shots, and I guess I can upload the picture to the page here later on, or I can send it to you guys to do. But it's this big blue mass, this energy, and it looks like it's just a hand just reaching out towards my direction. And that was probably one of the most interesting captures I got on camera. Never got that kind of capture before. But the fact that I felt it and could actually kind of see some of the blue and the white and the gray that was in there as it was coming toward me, that was kind of intense.
They were talking to you.
Yes, they were.
They were
Yes, they were.
communicating with you. Yes, they were. I get excited. So, what do you do most of your investigating or mediumship at? Is it like in Central Texas or?
Yeah, it's a lot of it's been in Central Texas. I haven't really had a lot of opportunity to go out further. I've been looking for opportunities to get that, and I appreciate this one coming up in June. It's going to be awesome. But mostly in Central Texas, and a lot of that has to do with just my day-to-day, my 9-to-5 work schedule. I work in retail, so it's kind of hard to get off sometimes and go explore outside of the state. But those are definitely some goals, is to explore outside the state more, and hopefully eventually outside of the country as well.
Yeah.
I just rebooked Ireland. Remember I had Ireland booked? I let it go because they pushed it out a year. And I'm like, I'm not invested in 2022. I'm invested in now. So they refund me 100%. But I was like, today I was like, it's only $100 deposit, like $100 a month until the event comes. I think I could do it. So like the possibilities are there. You just got to be open to them.
Definitely.
So Beth had a question about the Scandinavian ruins. What was that, Joe?
She asked if he had. There you go. Do you have a Druid or Scandinavian background?
Actually, very cool that you asked that question, because I just did 23andMe recently and got my results back. A huge shout out and thank you to my best friend Jennifer for hooking me up with that and getting the ball rolling on helping me find out my ancestry and my bloodline. Got my results back, and yes, I am 62% Irish from the County Clare region. I have a little bit of Scandinavian mixed in there, a little bit of Viking blood, actually. And the rest is Italian and Egyptian.
Egyptian, Beth. I know Beth is watching right now. We've been talking about that. No, that's cool that she picked up on that. Beth is really gifted, and you've got to meet Beth. Joe, we love Beth, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got to do a show together with all four of us. It'd be cool.
Yeah, she's pretty cool chick. I love her. I love her to death.
Awesome. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. So, what are some of the places that you have investigated that maybe are more interesting to you?
One in particular is in Mineral Wells, Texas, and it's called Haunted Hill House. I'm sure you've probably seen promotions of it on Facebook and stuff like that.
I took Joe on his only investigation there.
It's an interesting place. It does have a lot of energy. You can get overwhelmed there very, very quickly. It does have a lot of activity. It also has quite a few fear triggers, if you've ever been familiar with those, set up around. So you kind of got to navigate cautiously. But they have a lot of antiquities in that house as well that I'm sure brought in and added to the energy that was there already. Not to mention transients that come down the road from the baker, which is literally right down at the end of the street.
I connected more besides the house. What happened outside of the house? Was it Cassandra? I full body apparition. I connected to the girl that was murdered back there. Matter of fact, when I first got there, I went and sat. There's like that little wall in the back that you can sit on, and I was sitting there and I kept turning around. And I was like, "Who's buried back here?" And because I like going in blind. And they started laughing. I'm like, "What are you laughing about? Like who? There's a body back here, or someone was buried back here. Something happened." It was just I was getting creeped out. I kept getting called like whispers in my ear to come, and they were like, they're like, "Well, you like going in blind?" I'm like, "Okay, but if I ask you, tell me." And then they told me what happened to that girl, and then, oh boy, I was there from Friday evening at 6 p.m. till Sunday at 10 a.m. So I was there way longer than people really should be there because the energy involved. But on Sunday morning, I was sitting on my old tech guy's the hood of his car, and like there she was, sitting there in the tree line. hair wisping. And the funny thing is, like a couple weeks before, they found something. I don't know if I should talk about it. Something personal of hers that we use every day. And somebody went to use the restroom in the tree line, and they found her old cell phone. Oh, I just said it. Anyway, it is found her old cell phone. But I was literally, I mean, she was communicating to me, and it was so crazy. So I had more activity outside because the traumatic event would happen to her than I did on the inside. And
yeah, I mean, that the history of Mineral Wells itself, I mean, and all the land that's back there, and that land holds so much in. And in those tree lines that you're talking about, before I went to Hill House for the first time, I actually had a very vivid dream about a shadow man that lurks around out in those trees, and that kind of just invites and it kind of pulls you in, and he wants you to come back there to discover something, or he wants you to come back for one reason or the other. So yeah, I definitely get what you're saying on the energy outside, on the experiences outside, because definitely it definitely can happen. One of my goals is to actually go back and camp outside instead of staying inside. Just see what happens if you
camp out on the mountainside. You ever want to do it? I'll see about setting that up.
Yep.
But so you live in Marlin, and that's like my old tech guy. Him and his girlfriend, they started their own thing now, and they're doing really good. But he's from Marlin, and I went out there, and like his property was lined with 3 different cemeteries. And boy, did things get lit that night. I mean, I had to literally lay on my stomach on the head, and my eyes were this far from the headboard because I'm seeing 30 shadow figures in a room. No big deal. I close my eyes, I'm seeing like a neon luminescent vision of faces, like going ah. And then if I go to sleep, I'm jolted awake because they're coming to me that fast. So it was so lit over there. I literally had to lay on my stomach until I could calm down because it was real intense. Like staring at a freaking headboard, like with my eyes open. That's what I had to do. But I have some, you've heard of red brick dust, right?
Yes.
I have some ancient red bricks from there that I've moderately crushed up with moderate intent so that I can share them with people that want to continue their intent with the rest of it. If you want, I will give you some.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yes, absolutely.
My buddy trekked through miles of unknown terrain, through a river, through snake dens, like rattlesnake dens, to get these bricks, and pulled them back through a river and everything. But I have them like moderately broken up just to get them into the big folders can. But yeah, so that other people can continue their intent. So if you want, I got you on that one.
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah. Marlin has a deep history. It has a lot of energy to it. There are so many buildings in Marlin that if you were to come and just walk through them, not even intending to investigate, you would get activity. You would definitely get stuff around here.
So do you ever just walk into a building and stuff just starts, I don't know, happening, or you start feeling stuff or seeing stuff?
Yeah, I mean, all the time now, especially since I've opened myself up so much, I can go to work and I work in a grocery store and I just start feeling things. It's either energy coming off people. Sometimes people are walking around the store, customers, other employees. They don't realize they have something attached to them, or they don't realize they have something repressed there.
Or you're feeling their hardships. You're feeling what they're going through. You are sensitive that way. I've noticed you are sensitive that way.
Yeah, that's huge with me. That's one of my biggest ones is feeling the emotions big time.
Yeah.
And that's when you got to learn how to ground yourself and protect yourself. I wear protection stones every day: tiger's eye, obsidian, hematite, anything that I can have on in order to stay protected. Otherwise, if I don't have them, there's been a few times when I went to work without them, and it's just the pressure is just overwhelming. You can tell the difference.
You know, it's funny you say that. Like, I just did that film for the Travel Channel, and they were asking me, like, you know, what I used to do in that old home that I lived in. It's so different. You know, Palo Santo, sage. And I told him, I was like, now I really rely on my crystals. My crystals do the work for me, and I would do the work for them. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like I really have gotten away from burning stuff. I connect to the crystals, and I put the energy in, and the expectations and the intent, and it's even my son today. He goes, what is that? I'm looking at him like, I go, it's a quartz. He goes, no, it's a crystal quartz. He's 3.
Oh.
And he goes, and that's labradorite. Where's your amethyst? And I'm like, I can't wear all 3 of them. I'll get to like pinging. It's like,
Hey, let me ask you guys something. So when you say you connect more with crystals or you connect more with wood or what have you, is that always the case, or can that change as the night goes on or as a different investigation? You know what I'm saying?
Depends on spirits and intent. Go ahead, sweetie.
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, it changes. It's never a specific thing. It can change sometimes instantly in a heartbeat almost.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You never know what you're dealing with. And that's like, I get a lot of people asking about, I had someone ask the other day, like, what do you do? They're like stereotypes of spirits and all this stuff. And I was like, honestly, no, because every spirit was a human being for the most part. Right. For the most part, and like they all have a different story. They're treated different, just like our fingerprints. Their stories, like fingerprints, they're all different. And you have to really know what you're dealing with when you're trying to work with spirits and help them or not help them. It's always different, and you never know what's going on. And so, like, but as far as crystals go, I learned to use crystals for protection, for opening up more, for sometimes closing up a little bit, and just the stories. It's really weird, Joe. You kind of see me transform a little bit through all this process, and crystals have really like become a big part of the way I do things. Is because it's all about intent, and you know that, Nick. Everything is about intent. Mm-hmm. And so every story is different, and so you just got to come up in your mind if you're helping a spirit. Honestly, I want to get to the point where I'm more want to help the dead than the living. I want to help the spirits. That's where my heart's drawn to, but you can't treat them all the same. You got to listen, learn their story, do a little bit of your own personal spiritual research, and help that way. So it's going to be different every time that you react to a situation on what you're going to do, your game plan. You got to come up with a game plan.
Yeah.
I'm totally rambling, but
you're good. You're good. I love talking to other psychic mediums and gifted people about this stuff. I mean, it just, when I first started opening up, or even before then, I'm not even going to lie. I was the hugest skeptic when it came to psychics. Hugest skeptic,
Understandable,
all the stuff you see on TV, all the stuff you see in movies. And it's the media's take on it. It's not the real deal. It's not what it really is in real life. But when you start learning about it, when you start learning it's actually gifts from the spirit, and that you're given these gifts for a reason, and hopefully the reason is good intentions and helping. And I'm right there with you, Shannon, on helping with those that have already crossed the veil. They don't really have a voice as much as the living does.
And that's what okay, so you know this, when you go to a venue, a haunted venue that people, okay, because Paranormal Explorations of America, it's what I do. But the thing is, when I go to a venue, it is not my place to cross spirits over. It's different than when you're doing a residential, or if you're just dealing with spirits in your everyday life that you encounter that need help. When you go to a venue, you can't help them. And that's sad for me. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, because that's why you book that venue, is because it's haunted and it's not your place to cross them over. That becomes hard for me. But at the same time, I look at it as I'm listening to them. I'm going to hear their story, and I'm going to teach others. That's why I love doing events, is I want to bring others into this realm, to understand that the dead is way more living than the living. You know what I mean? It's like, I could go on forever, but that's really hard for me when I'm doing an event and I can't, if there's a spirit really asking for help. It's just like, it's not my, when you book and sign a contract with a location, it's not, you can't do it.
Yeah, it's hard because that property is owned by that individual, and it's what they want done with their property.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the ethics of it too. It doesn't sound ethical to an extent as far as helping those that have crossed the veil, but it is ethical to respect and honor the wishes of the
Thank
property
you.
owner, the landowner,
And the
and what
spirit
they've
as
done.
well, and listen. You can listen to their story.
You can
You
listen
can
to their story.
listen, and sometimes that's enough for them to cross on their own.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes all they want is their story told, and if you can tell that story to them, that's all they need.
Mm-hmm. So that's all they need. That makes it really rough. It really does, because I do a lot of investigations. Like every weekend, I'm somewhere else, and that's been really hard on me. Sometimes I've kind of not I wouldn't say gotten numb to that part of it, but I have to understand it, and so I can at least give the spirits respect, and I do let them know, like, hey, I want to teach other people this other side and how to respect it. Not to go in there being aggressive and like, hey, you're yelling at me. Just to understand, like, say if we walk outside right now, you're seeing trees, you're seeing grass, you're seeing cars, you're seeing a road. But if you were to, you might see a random person, but if we were to lift a veil right there, do you know how much energy and spirits you could see if that veil was able to be lifted for the normal person? It's like they're everywhere. So, you know, I'm just
I mean, honestly, it would be too overwhelming for people. It would be
absolutely.
They would shut down and they wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. I'm seeing this, I'm freaking out, and I'm jumping off a bridge. It's that insane to realize, okay, if you could feel the energy of spirits that are confused, energy of spirits that committed suicide and have regret or worried about their family that create portals, if you could feel the energy of someone who died and was worried about their family so much. I just got goosebumps. I'm sorry. Like that's the energy. Like people don't understand when you get it, Nick, when you're dealing with the dead and like the past and the spirits, they all come with a story. And when you're connected to it, that's what other people don't feel about it. And so when you can feel it, you have nothing but no choice to be respectful and be kind and help them through that, because I'm sorry, I'm a softie. When I feel that, I'll get tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean, like I said, I feel the emotion. So it's definitely, especially when that sadness comes on, and you can't help but just break down and cry.
Yeah. I've cried many a times. Thank you for feeling that, because what's your most, I'm sorry, John, like, I just keep talking.
No, you're good. You're doing good.
I call him Daddy. Daddy, can I bring Nick on? It's like, I mean, like, what's the most emotional experience, whether on an investigation or reading, if you can talk about it, what's the one you can talk about that really hit home to you spiritually, mentally, physically, and everything? What's the craziest, most intense moment that made you go, my work is for good?
So I'm going to have to go back to Hill House in Mineral Wells, actually. There's a few children spirits there. I'm sure you know that. Aware of that.
I already know. He's my buddy.
Yep.
Yep.
And upstairs, and I'm sure you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I tripped everyone out because I had him moving with an orb. I was like, "Come on, let's go back up here." I took him outside. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. You're good. He seemed to connect with me for some reason, and we were there on an investigation. We were upstairs, and the next thing I know is I'm just frozen upstairs. I can't really move. I can't speak, and I just start breaking down and crying. And I know it's because he's trying to come through and speak. Whatever he experienced, whatever trauma that fell on him, that's all he's trying to do with anybody that's open, with anybody that can listen, that comes there, is he's just trying to tell his story.
He's pulling on your shirt going, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here."
Yep. And it was at that moment when I felt him. It was almost channeling to an extent, which is something else I've gotten into.
I love channeling.
it's overwhelming, but at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
after done, after you bring yourself back down to this plane, after you reground and you're back, you realize that I kind of helped them a little bit
Mm-hmm.
by letting them speak through me. And you have to be careful with channeling because you never know what can come through. So it's always good to keep yourself grounded and protected, and definitely have people around that understand your mannerisms, the way you speak, the way
To pull
your
you, to
body
pull you, to
Oh,
push
reacts,
okay.
you. Yep.
to pull you back.
So I connected to him. What to say him?
Mm-hmm.
And very much so. And I felt like he was. I'm just gonna say he was constantly ridiculed and under the thumb of every dark thing there. And so I made a deal that I want to take him outside for 10 minutes. And I told the energy that was called energy. I told the energy there, like, you use him all the time. I'm going to take him outside. We're going to sit underneath a tree. We're going to feel the breeze. And I'll bring him right back. I said, he deserves that much. He's not your pawn tonight. Tonight, he gets to be him for a second. Oh, man, I'm going to cry. But by my side, like completely latched onto me. Like there were other people there that could, and then I brought him back. And that was on Friday. And on Saturday, I did it again. And then I brought him back. But I did ask permission because I didn't want repercussions coming to him.
Right.
The other spirits there. And
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to say his sweet little name, but we know.
No.
But Joe went there.
Yeah.
I invited Joe up there, and he came out, and he's like, well, "This is different."
Yeah, there's no Bigfoot over here, you know. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, go back to the channeling. I mean, it's something I've heard of before, but I really don't understand that either. And I'm sure there's probably people listening that probably don't really quite understand it. What is channeling? What is that whole process?
To keep it basic and straightforward, it's letting spirit speak to you, speak through you,
and listening and allowing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a spiritual conduit almost. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
But you're the conduit?
Say
Are
again?
you the conduit?
Yes.
Okay.
You end up being
scary.
the conduit.
Okay.
And it can be scary.
I have a question. I've had it come over and through the backside of me, and I stop it now. I don't allow it no more. Mm-hmm. How does that come across to you when that happens to you?
It's the back. It's the back.
Like a penetration through your body. Well, I've lately been the one. I've actually stopped it from happening, but like a veil coming over, and I'm like, nope, done. Okay, so the back was the most important. I didn't interrupt you. Sorry, I'm curious.
Oh, you're good. For me, it started with using an experiment called the Gansfeld technique. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it before or seen it utilized. But it's basically a sensory deprivation. And you put on some noise canceling headphones. I use a blindfold so I can't see. It's completely pitch dark around me. And I actually plug the headphones into either like a white noise app, something like that. And that's how it started for me, with straight sensory deprivation. And I'm starting to learn now that you don't need any of that. If you allow them to, they can come through and speak through you without the use of any tools or equipment or anything.
Smoking screens.
Yep.
So, like, real quick, I just want to go back to your ancestry. I don't know if you read this earlier from William. William's a good dude, man. If you're not friends with him, you need to be friends with him. He'll be back on the show soon. I always keep saying that, but I'm gonna have him back on the show. But I don't know what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, I do have an ankh.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah, that I wear around my neck sometimes. Mostly when I go on intense investigations and stuff like that. And the ankh actually came to me during a deep meditation session. I was just sitting there, I was meditating, and I got this visual of an Ankh and a pyramid. I was like, okay, an Ankh. I got to get an Ankh. And I got one that has the Eye of Horus on it. And to me, that represents protection. And the Eye of Horus represents opening the third eye, the mind's eye, getting those things in. So yeah, I already have an Ankh. I agree with William. It's an awesome sigil, an awesome symbol to have. And now I get it a little more with a little bit of Egyptian DNA that
there you go.
myself. I get the connection a little bit more. So yeah, totally with William.
Cool. Let's switch gears a little bit too. Let's talk about past life regression. How did you get involved with that? I mean, to me, it doesn't seem like the normal kind of stuff. I mean, I'm very interested in it. I believe in it. But how does one? Yeah. How does one get involved in that? And Shannon, do you have any experience with that too? Just
Yeah. I had my life changed by taking that class, and she told me, she's like, you had about 12 people behind you. I remember in this armchair, and my chest is up here, my arms and everything's back, and I'm like, and my friend, we took it, we were bawling. We had I can't remember her name. This was like 10 years ago, but I'm telling you, what you do is you soar over, you go back and forth. You keep feeling every emotion until it doesn't have the same emotion to it. When pain doesn't have pain anymore, it becomes numb and neutral. And it was something I really needed. I really, really needed it. And I don't know how Nick does, but that was very much of a blessing, and I would like to do that work again. And like, now that I've learned how to do it, I would like to actually maybe one day do it, put in practice with it.
Awesome. Yeah.
It changed my life. It really did.
It is. It's life-changing. And what got me into it was I have to give a shout out to George Jones, who runs and operates Tyler Paranormal Conference. And pretty much every event in Tyler, Texas is run by George and his friend Mark. But George reached out to me one day and he said, I got an idea. He has some abilities himself. And he reached out to me and he said, I got an idea for you. I think you'd be great at it. What's your thought on past life regression? I was like, what? I said, what now?
He was sent to you. He was sent to you. He was a messenger.
Yeah, he explained it to me. He walked me through it. He put me through one. I never want to try and perform anything on anybody or help guide anybody in any way unless I've experienced myself, because I need to know what can happen during a session. So he put me through one first. And after he put me through it and guided me through it, and the first few people that I had that let me do regressions on them went smoothly and opened some things up for them. It was just kind of one of those things where I knew it was part of my calling, was to help people do.
So what's someone like me who would be interested in that? What would I need to do to find someone? What would you recommend? Like someone to help me with that?
As far as learning how to do them or having
just going to connect, how to connect.
Yeah.
Get a hold of Nick.
That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just on average, like, is there like a network or channel that people can like log on to or request help?
Yeah, I'm still learning that part of it. I'm still fairly new to regression, so I'm building my network and I'm learning more and I'm researching more. But one thing for sure I can tell you is that if you ever have a question about wanting to learn people or wanting to know certain people that can connect you to certain things, reach out to George Jones. That man has a network.
Tyler, Texas, you said, right?
Tyler, Texas, yeah.
And guys, Nick may be like new to this part of this, but like he was saying, this is his calling. It's calling to him. And I'm just glad to catch him on this part of the journey because I can't wait to catch up with him later about it.
Right.
Because it's very obvious. His passion is there, his openness. When I met him at the VIP dinner a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, I was so happy to see him and I felt his energy right away. He's pure. This man is very pure. And I can't wait to follow your journey down the road and see where you're at in just a matter of a few weeks.
Yeah, I don't jump up from a full plate of food very much and hug somebody that I don't know. So yes, I definitely agree. The connection is there. The draw is there. And I appreciate you reaching out to me tonight and doing this. I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I can't wait to connect
anytime.
with you at an old funeral home.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. So, what do you have coming up, Nick? What do you have on the horizon for yourself?
So I've started taking bookings for readings, for rune readings and oracle card readings and past life regression. So I have several of those on the table in the next few weeks. We do have a paranormal university coming up on May 15th at the Palace Theater here in Marlin, Texas. And you can find the link on my Facebook page. You can find the link on the Palace Theater Marlin, Texas Facebook page. But we only have 8 tickets left. We're almost sold out. We only have 8 tickets left. So if you want a ticket, get on there and get it, because these sell out super quick. Other than that, I'm just trying to work toward building my future business, the Stone Path, which you can find me on Facebook or on Instagram at Runecaster Nick. And Stone Path is just what I do: rune casting, oracle cards, past life regressions, cleansings, paranormal investigations.
And if you guys want to investigate with him, June 19th in, I can't pronounce that town, Columbia, whatever, Mississippi. It's Central Mississippi. It's such a hard word. I've tried 10 times. It's at an old funeral home. Nick is going to be there. He's my special guest, and I'm so happy to have you there. And we're going to get really dig deep, and it's going to be a great investigation. $45 tickets for overnight. You get to stay the night, so you can't beat that.
Awesome.
So I'm going to be, I haven't put the flyer up yet on my page, but I will. So if you want to investigate with an amazing mentor medium, it's going to be great. You should be there. So
Cool, man. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to get together. Nick, hopefully you get to see her fall down. But
you couldn't help it. Oh my gosh!
I had to slip that in there.
Every show, I have no grace. I fall down a lot, and he's never failed. I'm like, we got through a whole show. He didn't talk about me falling. Yeah. Like, seem a little yeah. I got boobies already. Just shut up, Joe.
That's okay.
You keep that camera going on her. I want to see her fall again.
I was on Facebook Messenger with him, whatever Facebook was it called, FaceTiming, and I was in Jefferson and I was talking. Well, the road kind of goes like this, so when it cut down, I was holding my phone here, so I didn't realize that it had a decline. So when I went to step on the curb, it was a little bit off. And so I went flying, and I went flying so hard, and people were like, "Are you okay?" So I did a pose laying on the ground, like, no, I'm like, I meant to do that. And then I forgot to hear Joe go, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, oh shit, Joe's on the phone. So I held it in front of my face, and I'm like, no, I just wanted to sit down. And he's like, whatever. It's like,
she's like, I sat down too fast.
Yeah, I did something. I was so embarrassed. He always catches me. The first thing, so now if I fall down in front of anybody, I'm like, don't tell Joe. Don't tell Joe.
And they do tell me.
I know. That's
pretty cool.
So that's the joke on that, is I have no grace. I'm clumsy, but my bones never break. I got good, solid bones, so. Lord knew what he was doing. He's like, give her strong bones.
Yeah, give her strong bones.
Yeah. The only bone I've ever broken was metal going through my thumb, and that was it.
Yeah, Nick, so do you have any advice for people who might want to get into this field, who might want to do what you do? What kind of advice would you give them?
Learn to be right with yourself first.
Amen.
Self-love all the way through.
Best advice of the year.
Be right with your mind. Be right with your spirit. Be right with your conscience. Because if you aren't, those negative energies, those lower beings, they can creep in much easier, much faster, and they will take you over.
Yeah.
So don't try to jump into anything. Take your time. Learn how to meditate, ground, protect, grow, and then start opening up.
I was going to
ask you guys too. You can both answer this. Can anyone learn to do some of the stuff that you do, or are these abilities that you're born with and you either have it or you don't?
Depends.
Really?
Depends. It depends. Like it helps if you are naturally born with. Sometimes they're like when I was in Scotland, some of those are passed on ancestrally. But when you anyone can open their mind up. They just have to have the right mentorship to guide them through it, to help them understand. Because anyone's like, how much of part of our brain do we actually use? We don't use that much of it. But when you're enlightened, it's because you've enlightened yourself, because you've opened up other parts of your brain. It's there. The energy is there. Like energy is there. It can be felt, but we're not trained to use it. And so, and especially sensitive, like does that make sense, Nick? Or would you agree? Like anyone can tap into it, but they have to have the will, the want, and the intent to do it.
Yes. You took the words right out of my mouth. I couldn't even put it better myself.
Thank you.
I sent you a message, Shannon. I don't know if you can read it.
Hold on.
It's a private message on the StreamYard.
I'm looking. Hold on. It's running slow because I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. What does it say? It's private.
Yeah. Let me see if I can send it to you. Hold on, everyone. Give me a second here. This is live.
Yeah, like we're doing this live. Okay, so it's not on there.
It's on a StreamYard. But
I never go to StreamYard. That's the thing. I always go through my Facebook. Yeah, Messenger.
Okay, well, I'm sending it to you on your Messenger.
Oh, yes. Actually, I respect you sending me that, and thank you for reminding me.
Just to say, I met her one time in 2019 at a Bigfoot conference, but you probably actually have a closer connection than I do, in terms of the path, so.
I've never met this woman, but you know what? To be honest with you, I never knew she existed. Right. And I hate that because we had almost 300 mutual friends. Last night we lost a very sacred angel to this earth, and I'm gonna cry like out. Okay, so when I was 18, my best friend Corey Hartley had a sister, and I started noticing yesterday that his sister was finally losing her battle with breast cancer, and a very aggressive breast cancer. And I felt in tune to look, and I'm like, wait, this girl is She-Squatch. This is Tanya Knight. I never even knew who she was. As cute and as you can be sometimes, you just don't know everyone.
Right.
And I spent hours literally going through her feeds and gathering the energy from this woman. And what a blessing. What an absolute blessing she was on this earth. Her grace through her passing. So I do. Thank you, Joe, for mentioning that, because I just want everyone to really, if you don't know who she is, or if you do, know that her mark was made, even for someone that's only known her for less than 12 hours.
Right.
And wow, and thank you for giving me that moment, because it meant a lot to me. I spent literally hours on my laptop like, who is this woman? I should know who this woman is. And I'm like, wow, what a blessing. Because anybody that knew her, I could imagine just knowing her, the radiant of light that she gave to people. So just, light a candle for her tonight, or just light a, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get one of those Chinese lanterns where you write your intent on them in a Sharpie, you open them up, you light them, you can put your intent into the universe, and I'm gonna send her good blessings. So
cool. Yeah, I think she would appreciate that. I think all her friends would appreciate that.
I can't believe I don't know her, but I feel like I do.
Yeah, like I said, I met her one time, and she was definitely a pleasure to be around, and we had a good conversation, and that was the only time I ever met her or talked to her. Or, we of course liked each other's stuff on Facebook, stuff like that. But for me to sit here and pretend that we were super close, so I
didn't even know her. But my best friend at 18 is her brother, and how did I not even know this? You know what I mean? But I feel like I know her after the time I spent slowly scrolling and reading everything. Thank you, Beth. because it's just so weird. And like, I felt the connection afterwards. It was so weird. As last night, I felt a little, and that's when she passed, was last night. So
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I just saw my Facebook feed just filled with blessings and prayers and thoughts about her, stuff like that. So, so it's it kind of struck a chord for me, so I won't get into that, so.
But thank you for that reminding me of that, because we got so caught up in talking. But yeah, I wish I knew her more, because I feel like I know her already. So in just that short amount of time.
Cool, man. Well, I hope no one's too sad about that. I think it's just time to celebrate, but Nick, thanks a lot for joining, man. You did great. It was awesome getting to talk to you, man. And I'm really excited for you. I really am. You're I think you got a bright future, and
absolutely.
Yeah, man. She's Shannon here is gonna, if you can ever get with her more than just one place in Mississippi, man. I think you guys are be a great team, or just be able to feed off each other,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. Shannon, you got anything to add? Yeah.
I'm just glad. Like, sometimes energy and situations happen the way they're supposed to. Things get placed in front of you, and you got to acknowledge it. And that a lot of that's been going on lately. And I'm just grateful for everything that's happening right now. I can honestly say I'm truly happy, and I'm excited about the different connections. Like, meeting Nick, I was like, okay, I want to be working with this motherfucker. Sorry about cussing. I want to be working with this guy. Like, let me interrupt your dinner and come say hi, because it's gonna happen. You got to know this. But,
you're probably stuck with her like I am. I've been trying to get rid of her, and I just can't.
He's the one who pushes me down, but I didn't want to tell on him.
Yeah, it's my energy.
But no, just in real talk, real life. Like, I appreciate people like you, Nick, and I'm so glad that I met you, and that, like, I'm going to be working with you, and I can't wait to share our energies with other people to help show them. It's about that. That's what it's really about, is helping other people. So
I couldn't agree more.
Like, Joe needs help.
Yeah.
No, he don't. He's got a beautiful,
I need a lot of help. Yeah.
He's got a main squeeze now. I'm so happy to hear. Like, and she's gorgeous. I saw her on FaceTime the other day. I'm like, oh, she's pretty, Joe. Yeah, I called her out. Shut up. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's okay. Nick, you got anything you need to add, or want to add, or say to the people? Say to the masses?
Just again, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Trying to get my name out there, trying to get the Stone Path out there. And just trying to get out there and just do what I can and just help. I've told Shannon this in the past, that's all I want to do is help.
You got a tribe. Man. You got a new tribe now.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, man. Hey, dude, if I can ever help you out, man, hit me up, man. Let me know. I'll do whatever I can, whatever you need me to do.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah, cool. And with that being said, man, thanks to everyone in the chat room. You guys,
Thank
are
you,
always, Beth. Yeah, thanks, Beth, William, Abe, Troy.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you.
Jennifer, you guys always come through them, and I appreciate it more than you guys know. So with that being said, see you guys next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.